138 MMA here to break down what is currently slated as our Week 8 of Dana White Contender Series main event. In this matchup, we have Farid Basharat coming in 8-0 to take on Allan Begosso coming in 7-1 and 1 draw. In this matchup, obviously Basharat has a bit of a height advantage. He's 5'8" as opposed to 5'5" for Bagoso. That's not the biggest issue for Bagoso, though, in this fight. The reach will obviously be an advantage for Basharat, but the thing that's interesting to me is they both are getting wins on the regional scene over, all right competition, but Bagoso is making these close fights. If you look back to his fight against Marcos Silva. So Marcos Silva versus Allan Begosso, regional scene, it's close. It's really close. In fact, I could have seen judges going the other way in that fight. Now, obviously, they gave it to Bagoso here. But, man, Silva had some moments in that fight where you're thinking, I don't know if I think he's landing the more impactful shots. I think he's doing the more impactful things. But obviously more minutes to Bagoso. So I don't think it was necessarily a bad decision. I just think it was really close, and I wouldn't have faulted a judge for going the other way. And Marcos Silva is now 5-6 or 6-5, something like that. He has like a round 500 record, and you see that a few times on his fight history. So Bagoso has these fights against guys that are like middle of the road, and he's getting the wins. Don't get me wrong, but he's not getting the wins in the way that you'd want to see him get wins over mid-level competition. Sorry about that. He is a decent all-rounder, as I pointed out here. He doesn't look bad in any area particularly, but he doesn't look really good either. He looks like, the guy that at your low-level MMA promotion in your hometown, he's probably the champion. He's probably the guy that's beaten all these not-so-good fighters that they're bringing in with with like a 8-36 record. So he's beating all those guys, no problem. Don't get me wrong, but like the guys that are kind of doing all right, middle of the road, 500 records, he's putting on a close fight with them and getting the win, and that's why his record looks the way that it does. But he isn't doing it as impressively as you'd like to see. Now on the other end for Basharat here, he's much more polished. He's also a decent all-rounder, but he is a bit better, I would say, than Bagoso here. So the fight is clearly in favor of Basharat because they both have similar skill sets. Basharat just does them a little bit better. Not lost on the ground, not lost on the feet. He does have a decent head kick. He's got quite a few wins by rear naked choke. He is beating the mid-level competition by a little bit better of a margin, I would say, than Bagoso is. He's getting more finishes over those people, and he's also, when he does get a decision, we saw it a few fights ago. He fought a 4-0 guy at the time, and when he was in this fight, he controlled the fight for almost the whole fight. The problem that I see is sometimes he has an odd fight IQ. I don't know that it's actually bad, but he'll do things in a fight where you go, why? So he's winning fights, and then at the end of a round, he'll do something that could put him in jeopardy of losing right there. And instead of just taking the win in the round, he'll do something, and it's not something that's going to be like a big impact for him. So for example, that 4-0 fighter that I was talking about where he got the win by decision, did it really impressively. I think it was at the end of round 1 or 2. He goes for like a somersault kick, which obviously super low percentage move, has very little chance of landing. And when it does, it's not super powerful either. But he goes for this at the end of the round like he has a reason for it. He's winning this round handily. Just gives his opponent an opportunity. Obviously nothing happened of it. He obviously won that fight. But like, why? Why are you doing that? He does a few other things like that. He gets clipped by guys that he shouldn't get clipped by. But he's still clearly the better fighter out of these two. So obviously my pick is going to be for Basharat. However, the odds suggest that somebody is confused and thinks that it's Javid Basharat, not Farid Basharat, in this fight, because Javid is clearly the better of the two brothers. I don't think that's a controversial thing to say. I do think Basharat gets this win here. I don't know that he should be a massive favorite in this fight, which he currently is. It's like, minus 400 or something like that, give or take. But Basharat's a heck of a fighter for the regional scene. I don't know if he's UFC ready yet. I know that they're kind of doing the whole cycling through the older guys and getting them out the door, getting in some younger talent. So maybe he does make his way into the UFC, depending on how he can put away Bagoso here. I don't know how he gets it done. He should be the bigger fighter, the taller, rangier fighter. He's also had fights at featherweight, whereas Bagoso obviously is more of a bantamweight, especially based on the height. So I'm going to take Basharat here, but like I said, the odds are a bit wide. if you're going to do a full fight parlay, yeah, obviously throw him in there. He's probably a safer pick than most people on the card, aside from maybe Ikram, the guy that's only lost is Hamzat Chimaev. So Basharat's probably your second safest bet on the card, but at the same time, at the odds, placing a solo bet on him is there's not really any wiggle room there. So for me, Basharat. But let me know what you think. If you think I'm underestimating Bagoso here, sorry guys, man, tongue tied this morning. If you think I'm underestimating Bagoso here, let me know in the comments. Maybe there's something you saw that I didn't. I did watch pretty much all of his regional fights. There's a couple that I couldn't really find that were the watching quality you can actually comprehend. So, but let me know if maybe you've been to his fights live and you've seen a few. Maybe you've been to Basharat's fights live, seen a few, and kind of got a better idea. I'd love to hear what you think. But we'll see you in the next video.